Hello, here we are again. Um, Hope everybody's listening is doing well. I get very few views typically on my going through Matthew, but I'm hitting every part of Matthew so far, going through it verse by verse. And people, and here's my little Bible here. Here's my Bible right here. I'm going to read from. It's the NASB. And I know that when it really comes to knowing Jesus Christ, people like to beat one another up with the scriptures. I heard a preacher that said that one time. Well, people like to beat one another up from the scriptures and say, they don't want to know what the scriptures say. They want to, what does the scripture say that I can, boom, hit this person with or defend myself with? It's why people watch Christopher L. He wants to fiddle around, and he's not the only one. He's a year or two older than me, and he's a smart ass. And you can. I want you to unsubscribe, Christopher L. And your little sniveling toady too. But people like to watch that kind of stuff. They want the drama. They're not interested in God. So I know my audience shrinks when I do this stuff. So, this is kind of a conclusion. This is the end of the Sermon on the Mount. This is chapter 7 of Matthew. I'm reading from the NASB Bible, which is supposed to be the most accurate. Although there are people that say that the KJV is the most accurate. And let's see. We started out with all the stuff that went before, and Jesus said, "Blessed are you poor," or "Blessed are the poor." Depends on what version you mean. I think Luke is different. This is "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And it goes on, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." So, that is a blessing to be in circumstances that people feel are not advantageous or not blessed. Jesus corrects them in their misunderstanding and says, "Blessed are you poor," or "Blessed are the poor, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." It says, "Blessed are the gentle," I think it says down here, "or the humble, meek, for they shall inherit the earth." People don't want that kind of thing. They're attracted to power, crushing power. They're not looking to the poor. They're not considering themselves blessed when they consider the poor cursed. Okay? The old, wasn't too many years ago, I didn't have a lot of money, and I was coming home from work. My car had broken down, so I was taking the bus. And a guy walked by. It was at a store. I was at a store waiting for the bus, and my car had just broken down, and I was working. And a guy walked by and said, "Get a job, you schmuck." And that's our attitude, which is not a Christ-like attitude. And a true Christian attitude, a godly attitude, comes down to the fact where you care less and less. If you're really trying to follow Christ, you care less and less. You give a damn what people say or think about you. There was, what I would consider a boy, very young man, come to me and on YouTube and said, "Well, I've got more friends than you. People watch more videos watch more of my videos than," and I'm not going to say who it is, "more videos of mine than they watch of yours." Well, that's not my objective. If that's your objective, then that's your objective in life. to have friends and be popular, to have people watch your videos. It says, blessed are you poor, or blessed are the poor. And blessed are those who hunger and thirst. Blessed are the gentle or the meek, the humble, not the weak. Not necessarily not the weak, but it's not saying the weak. It says, blessed are the meek, the humble, the gentle. Blessed are the peacemakers. People, this is not what people respect. Jesus goes on and says, to love one another, to, what's the word? Treat one another as you would have them treat you. You're in their situation. If you were in their situation, how would you want people to treat you? And that's the law and the prophets. But that is not the behavior of these Christians on YouTube. So what is the end of this? When not to be threatening in any way, but just to say, those who hear these words are culpable in this sense. Therefore, and you've heard the whole Sermon on the Mount. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts, or it says, literally, does them, acts on them, does them, may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock, and the rain fell. See, there are going to be times where you're not going to enjoy it, and you're not going to enjoy what's in life. Where is your foundation? Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them may be compared to a wise man who built his house on the rock. And the rains fell, and the floods came, and the winds blew and slammed. There's no avoiding it. Against that house. And it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. What goes around comes around. And as you do, with a measure you use, it will be measured to you. So what is establishing you is this teaching that as we've all done evil in our lives, we're going to found ourselves on living rightly and doing unto others as we would have them do unto us. So don't tell me, well, I'm going to found my house on the rock, but I'm going to do unto others how I would not have them do unto me. Do to others how I would not have them act to me. Don't tell me you're founded on the rock. You don't tell me you don't hunger and thirst for righteousness. And don't lie to me and tell me you do. When the truth is you don't hunger and thirst for righteousness. You're not founding your house on the rock, okay? This is for people who claim that they're interested in Christianity. I'm not trying to criticize the outsiders, but those who claim they're Christians. And I'm also trying to give some teaching on that. Yet, and it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. Everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. And the rain fell, and the floods came. Let's see, there's a little mark there. Rivers. If rivers or floods came, it says literally rivers. The rain fell, and the rivers came. And the winds blew and slammed against that house, and it fell. There was a saying, I forget the person's name. It says the truth has a certain ring to it. And some things in the Bible, even, if they were honest, just about anybody can accept. That your life has to be founded on something. You can't, what goes around comes around is a general accepted idea. Establish your house on your life on something solid is a generally accepted idea. The rain fell, and the rivers or floods came, and the wind blew and slammed against that house, and it fell, and great was its fall. When Jesus had finished these words, the crowd was amazed at his teaching, for he was teaching them as one having authority, or as having authority, not as their scribes. How is it that a man like Jesus and even his followers will speak as one having authority? How is that? And others don't do that. But that authority comes with that proclamation and that truthful proclamation of Christian. So, what are you going to depend on? Do unto others as they would have them do unto you, or something else? God bless.